Kadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 15. Siman Cafe, Siman 25, Bahalacha Kav Gimel 23. Okay? Mi she'en lo tefillin ba'et she'hatzibur mitpalelin. What happens right now if a person does not have talit and tefillin? Right? He doesn't have, okay, here's talking about the tefillin, right? And then what happens? So he's waiting, he's looking, he's waiting for his friend that he's going to bring him tefillin. Yes, some people say, some people say you should wait, right? And basically don't, until after the Tefillat HaTzibur, in order to say Kriyat Shema, ויתפלל עם התפילין, ויקבל עליו על מלכות שמיים שלמה. וזהו עדיף ממה שיתפלל עם הציבור ולא תפילין, ויהיה כמעיד עדות שקר בעצמו, שניצל קריאת שמע תפילה, עם התפילין ביחיד, עדיף מתפילת ציבור. Right? That's the Magen Avraham and other אחרונים. ויש אומרים שתפילה בציבור עדיפה. So here you have a מחלוקת between the Magen Avraham and other אחרונים, and the Pri Chadash and other אחרונים. What is better? Tefillah betzibur, yeah, or praying with your talit and tefillin, and you missed the tefillah betzibur. Okay, so that's a machloket. Okay, so let's see the right, and then he brings down the halacha. Okay, but even beforehand, let's try to dive into the shitot. Okay, so it says over here like this. Okay. No, we continue. I guess he's going to explain it later on. Number 29. Okay. Ulalacha. Halacha l'maaseh. Nir'eh, it appears. Shimu mechaven etev betfilato. If a person has a lot of kavanah in the tefillah from the beginning to the end, yamtin ad sheyasig tefillin. Wait. Yikra kriyat shema v'yitpalel biyachid im tefillin. Timlav, but if a person does not have a proper concentration toward his tefillah, yitpalel im tzibur v'lo tefillin, pray with the tzibur without tefillin, ve'achar kach yaniach tefillin v'yikra kriyat shema in my hair, and then you're going to read it. What? Very, very simple. What is the reason? One of the main reasons of Tefillah Betzibbur is because of kavanah. What does that mean, kavanah? When a person is going to be praying by themselves, so their Tefillah is going to be investigated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? He's an individual. So he comes in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's like an individual that comes by the border. So when you come to the border and you come and you show your passport, they look at your passport, they look at you, and they want to make sure that everything is fine. What happens when it's a big bus and there's 100 people on the bus? So what happens? Many times they used to go on, right? There could be now things are changing, but usually what do you used to call? Many times you used to hold the passport closed. And as long as they see a Canadian passport, it could be even expired. It could be whatever you want. You understand? It could be whatever it is. They come, they see the passport, boom, over. Yeah, it's not that you can't show a passport at all. But they're not going to come, open up each one, look at you. No. Why? You're on a big bus. You're on a big kfutza. And that's the koach of the tzibur. So the koach of the tzibur. So because of that, that's why the Gemara always says that a person should always be with the tzibur. Because even if he's not going to pray bechavana, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is matili tepalel me'raglim b'kavana. That even if he's not going to pray bechavana, all the tefillot, they come up together. So even if his tefillah was not 100% good, as they say, it still goes up with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It goes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because they all come up together. If he's going to go by himself, no. So here he brings down halacha l'maaseh. It all depends on the person. He says if the person is able to have a lot of kavanah, right? So therefore, okay, fine. So he's going to pray levad. Why? Because he doesn't want to be me'id, do check it about small. He doesn't want to come and testify falsely. So therefore, he's going to pray right by himself. However, though, right, he comes and he says, if it's going to be right that he's able to. Oh, okay, fine. So he comes and he says, if it's going to be that he does not have a proper kavanah, so therefore you shouldn't. Omnam, however, though, im yesh lo kayet tefillin d'rabenutam. What happens if he has tefillin d'rabenutam? Bechol ofen yesh lo lanicham ke b'lo bracha. Put it on without a bracha. Pray with them, and then afterwards, when you have Rashi, put them on with a bracha and you make it. Remember, you will never make a bracha on rabenutam. The bracha is always only on Rashi. So even though you're going to put on rabenutam first, it doesn't matter. You're only making the bracha on Rashi, not on rabenutam. That's how we pass it. So here you do have one tefillin. Ma? That's how we pass it. That's how we pass.
Everybody?
Everybody. That's how we pass. Yeah, we are not allowed to make a bracha on Rabbeinu Tam. Once Shulchan Aruch is posek, like Rashi, not like Rabbeinu Tam, you're not allowed to make a bracha on Rabbeinu Tam. Sefek brachot la'akel. You understand? So therefore, here you do not have tefillin, right? But you're going to get them later on. So fine, put on Rabbeinu Tam now, and later on you're going to put on Rashi. ואין לך רש"י כל הזמן. בסדר, תשים רבנו תם וזהו. מה אתה רוצה? בלי ברכה. It doesn't change it. If a person is going to come and put on now tzitzit according to one shita of a Ravad, against Shulchan Aruch. He cannot. Fine, he should borrow. He has to borrow. Okay. Yeah.
He did put Rabbeinu Tam with ברכה.
יש לך כל היום לשים תפילין. מה?
הוא חשב שזה
כזאת.
פיין.
הוא יוצא או לא?
מה?
כולם רש"י, כולם רבנו תם, דין ברכה.
אז אני שואל שאלה.
I think it might have happened once or twice that they took my tefillin, like when they did the tefillin in the school. They took my tefillin.
They're not yet to the Chovah. They have to make a new bracha when they put on Rashi. You have to make a new bracha on Rashi. Let's see number 29. Look at 29 in the bottom, the footnote. According to the Magen Avraham, it's always best to wait until the tefillin arrive, even though that means that you're going to end up praying without a congregation. He decided that it's more important to wear tefillin while praying than to pray with a tzibur. Right? And he brings the proof of the Shulchan Aruch. So Shulchan Aruch says that it's more important to connect the blessing of Gal Yisrael Tamidah than it is to pray with a congregation. Right? So now, meaning that it's more important lechaber Gal Yisrael le Hashem Tzvadat Yiftach than litpalel Betzibbur, whatever the case was. So now he says, the halacha is that if someone received tefillin just as he recited the blessing of Gal Yisrael, he's required to stop and put them on before beginning the Amidah. So the minute, bוא נגיד, אתה מתפלל. You don't have tefillin. I come and I bring you tefillin when you're saying Baruch Ata Hashem Gal Yisrael. Tefillin. What are you supposed to do? You start the Amidah or not? Says halacha, you stop and you put them on before beginning the Amidah. Although this means that you're going to interrupt between Gal Yisrael and Amidah. The obligation of wearing tefillin while praying Amidah is more important than the obligation of connecting Gal Yisrael and Amidah. Since the mitzvah connecting to the blessing of the Amidah is more important than Tefillah Betzibbur, so then certainly praying while putting the tefillin, basically he went like this. What's more important? Gal Yisrael Amidah or Tefillah Betzibbur? It says Gal Yisrael Amidah. What's more important? Gal Yisrael Amidah or putting on the tefillin, and you're going to make a hefsek between Gal Yisrael Amidah? Tefillin. So says the Magen Avraham, if tefillin is more important than Gal Yisrael Tamidah, and Gal Yisrael Tamidah is more important than Tefillah Betzibbur, so therefore tefillin is more important than Tefillah Betzibbur. That's the Magen Avraham. Maran Rishon LeZion, right? He comes and he demonstrated that according to the Pri Chadash in Siman 496, the mitzvah of praying while wearing tefillin is more important than praying Tefillah Betzibbur. The author of the Pri Chadash related that first visited Egypt, he had every intention of going back to Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, on the morning of the second day of Yom Tov, he arose early, put on tefillin, right, in the privacy of the room, and he said Shema, so that he would not be guilty of saying Shema without a thing. Meaning that, again, he's an Israeli in Chutz La'aretz, but he wants to go back to Eretz Yisrael. So on the second day of Yom Tov, right, he comes, puts on tefillin. Remember, they were putting on the tefillin during Chol Moed, or it's the last day of Yom Tov, the second day, right? And what happens? He would come. Yeah, there's a whole difference. There's differences. Sfarad, Ashkenaz, Lo Kulam, depends which ones. So he says, while the congregation recited the Amidah of Yom Tov, he recited the weekday Amidah. And no one noticed it since he was doing it silently. So we see from this account that he ruled that it was more important to pray with the congregation than to pray with tefillin. For otherwise, he should have just prayed tefillin in the room. Meaning, one more time, what did he do? He went into a private room. He put on the tefillin. He said Kriyat Shema. He took them off. He goes into the regular Bet Knesset and he does Amidah with them. Now, his Amidah is obviously the weekday Amidah. Their Amidah is Yom Tov Amidah. So one second, if you're telling me that tefillin is more important, right, then the Tefillah Betzibbur, he should have prayed with the Kriyat Shema and the Tefillah with the tefillin. Why did he take it off and then pray with the Tzibur? So it's mashma that praying with Tzibur is more important. So the Rishon LeZion then brought down Halachot Ktanot, right, that brings down the Moshe Galanti, that he used to put on the tefillin and recite Shema at home in the morning of Tisha B'Av, and then go later on to the synagogue to pray with the congregation. Apparently, he felt it was necessary to fill the mitzvah of tefillin in the morning, so he would not be guilty of the false testimony. But he still made the church to pray the Amidah with the tzibur. So again, the same thing, right? So according to these poskim, if someone finds himself in the synagogue without tefillin, it's best to pray with the tzibur without tefillin, and then you put it on afterwards, right? That's also, by the way, the Ben Ish Chai to do with the Tisha B'Av in the morning. Right? So there's a whole question here, meaning it's coming out that what would you do? You would still pray Tefillah Betzibbur. So it's mashma Tefillah Betzibbur is more important than the tefillin. So he says, in practice, Manan settled on a compromise. That is, if the person is capable of praying on the entire Amidah while concentrating properly on the meaning himself, if he's right, so then he could pray by himself. And if he's not capable, so then he should pray with the tzibur. The Chabra explained that one of the advantages of praying with the congregation is that it's always going to be accepted even if you do not concentrate. Therefore, if someone is able to concentrate, so therefore this shara, this compromise is a shita of Rav Ovadia. That Rav Ovadia makes a compromise. Because again, you have back and forth. You have mitzad echad, some shitot achronim bring a proof one way, and then you have shitot achronim bring a proof the other way. So because you have both, so he says, compromise. This is the compromise. Okay, what about to pray within the allotted time? What does that mean? This compromise is applicable only if the person is confident that he's going to receive tefillin in the proper time. What happens if he suspects that he's only going to get tefillin later on? So the Kavachim Sofer, that praying during the allotted time without tefillin is preferable than to praying a lot of time with tefillin. That means according to everybody, in Yahavor et Zman shel Kriyat Shema or Tefillah, whatever it is, for sure you pray right now, even without tefillin. That's according to everybody. Okay, that's what's brought down in the Kaf HaChaim. Look at number 30. This is the ruling of the Halacha Brura. The author related that he once came across someone in this situation, and his father, and together with Rav Yehuda Tzadka, instructed them to put on the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam and to pray, even though the person was not yet married and did not regularly put on Rabbeinu Tam. You understood? This is a chidush, meaning that even though he never put on Rabbeinu Tam, they told him, put on Rabbeinu Tam and pray. And then later on, right, and this ruling is applicable even if the person is capable of concentrating properly during the Amidah, as long as the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam are available, it is best to pray at the time with the congregation. So then he said there's even another way. So you get Rabbeinu Tam, tell him to put it on, he prays with the Tzibbur, afterwards you come, you give him Rashi, he does the Kriyat Shema afterwards, and then there's no problem.